Hello, welcome to Jennifer's Magic Book Club. Today I am here to read a novel which is called The Science of Breakable Things. Let's start reading from assignment 21. Let's start. Well, I guess Dad finally decided to stop giving me some space and start enacting a plan of action, shall we say. He picked me up from school today, which was a sign number one that something was not okay. I'm biking home with Twig, I said. I felt stubborn about it all of a sudden, even though I'd been dreading it all day. The weather had cracked, the temperature finally dropping below freezingly. We all had our down jackets out today, finally admitting to ourselves that winter was a thing that was happening. You can put your bike in the trunk, he said. This is weird to say, but seeing Dad out in the real world was unsettling. I hadn't realized until then how sucked up we'd been in Mom's sadness. The two of us were compass needles, pointing straight at Mom. We hadn't done anything outside together in months. I think that was realizing it too, because when I got in the passenger seat, he wrapped an arm around me and pulled me into an awkward hug. This will be good, he said. Doris is really good. Which was a sign number 2, because anything involving someone named Doris is definitely not okay. I didn't ask who Doris was partly because I didn't want to know, and partly because I already did know. My palms started to sweat. Dad tried to make small talk on the whole drive over, even though he's not very good at small talk. The drive took us in the same direction as Lancaster University, where Mom used to work. We had to go through a run-down part of town, and as we drove past those buildings, I wrapped my jackets tighter around my chest, even though Dad was blasting the heater. Thinking about going back to Mom's lab made me feel kind of sick inside, like even just the thought of it was somehow a betrayal. But once we made it through the beat-up neighborhood, we turned left instead of right, and we kept on driving. Eventually, we made it to the parking lot of an unfriendly concrete office building. I was so upset by that point that I wanted to grab my bike out of the trunk and paddle all the way home. Only I didn't know how to get back, and it was really far and anyway. Dad would have been really angry if I did that, so I followed him into the building and into Dr. Doris McKenna's lobby. Taking me to a therapist's office without telling me was basically an act of guerrilla warfare, and I promised myself right then that I am never going to do this abuse stuff to my kids. I'm never gonna act like I know best and they aren't capable of making their own decisions. I'm pretty sure I had cartoon steam coming out of my ears because Dad knew I was fuming and didn't even try to make small talk anymore. We sat in this waiting room and he picked up one of those doctor's office National Geographics, propping one ankle over his knee and reading it as if everything was cotton candy dandy. I crossed my arms over my chest and Dad looked up and frowned. He had the nerve to look confused. Natalie, I glared at him. He rubbed his hand over the side of his face, looking all concerned, like he just realized he made a mistake. Natalie, we talked about this, your appointments, remember? I mean, I know he'd mentioned the appointment before, but I never really thought it would happen, and it still didn't feel fair. He'd made this decision for me. I didn't want to be there. I looked around. The waiting room was too small and about 1,000,000 degrees too hot, and I was planning my great escape when the therapist's door opened. Dr. Doris came out to call my name. She was young and pretty with horn-rimmed glasses and red hair, and she had this huge smile when she said my name, but I just glared at her. I felt kind of bad because the woman was only doing her job, and anyway, she hadn't forced me to come here, so she didn't really deserve my skull face. But then Dad gave a thumbs up and said, "Good luck, Nats," and I didn't feel bad for scowling anymore. Dr. Doris's office is different from Dad's office. Dad's office is painted this creamy white color, and all his furniture is white, but her office is colorful. Everything is bright peach walls, bright blue furniture, bright sunlight streaming in through big bright windows. Colorful little toys sit on her coffee table, Rubik's Cube and Slinkies, and her windows are lined with 20 different plants without all different colored flowers. And I have to admit, the whole happy garden feel of the place made me more comfortable. Only then I worried this was some kind of therapist trick to make me more comfortable, and then I had no idea how to feel. So I'm done reading till assignment 21, page 122 in the middle of the page. I hope you're joining with me, and see you later. Bye. Have a nice day. Thank you.